Chasing that money, living for the thrill, aiming for the top, gotta make a kill. Street smart, no room for the weak. Cross us once, you'll feel the heat. Taking what we want, we don't ask for permission. Running with the wolves, a dangerous coalition. Living on the edge, no time for hesitation. Heal shit podcast, where the bad boys reign, never following the norm, always causing pain. But in this city, ain't nobody in the way. We're the kings of the night, here to stay. Chasing that money, living for the thrill, aiming for the top, gotta make a kill. Street smart, no room for the weak.
Viewer discretion time.
Viewer discretion is advised.
What up, Heel Faction? Welcome back to Heel Shit. Why do we call it that? Because bad guys do heel shit. I'm Dark Cordz, that's Draven Grimes, and this is Fantasy Wars. Tonight's topic, what if AEW started in 2015 instead of when it started? 2019?
2019.
2019. So what if AEW started in 2015, not 2019? We will get into it right after this.
Cool. Living fast, we ain't slowing down. Always ready to turn heads around. Heel shit podcast, where the bad boys reign, never following the norm, always causing pain.
All right. How you doing, brother?
Recovering. Still on the mend from having that really nice trip earlier this week. But a little better each and every day, so we're gonna keep on chugging along, my guy.
I like it.
How about you? What you doing?
Today was my Friday. Well, hopefully everybody in the U.S. today was their Friday. Happy 4th of July to everyone who celebrates it. Other than that, just preparing for the show and living the dream.
Whose dream?
Somebody worse off than us, I guess.
Fair, very fair. Right. So what are we doing here tonight?
We are talking about what if AEW started in 2015, the implications, what does it do to the industry, stuff like that.
Okay. How you want to roll this tonight? Because I know last week when we did Fantasy Wars, we did a little bit differently. You kind of went more on my side of the fence, and I kind of went more on your side of the fence. Let me just say, I kind of stayed on your side of the fence for the most part on this. Where did you land?
Probably somewhere in the middle. I put together a roster and then spoke about, and then just thought about what kind of dream matches would have come from it, stuff like that.
Okay. So let's run it like this tonight. We both have rosters that we want to go over. So let's flip-flop back and forth on that.
Okay.
I got little highlights as far as notes of what may have changed, what's going to change, what's not going to change, what we're going through in 2015 at the time. Some of the worst WWE shit in fucking history. Let's fucking be real. And then we'll just bounce off. Let's just jive. Let's have a conversation tonight instead of you book, I book, you book, I book kind of shit.
All right. Sounds good.
All right. So 2015 WWE. Roman Reigns is getting pushed heavily. Fucking heavily. NXT's exploding in popularity as the black and gold brand. This is back when they still had Balor. They just signed Kevin Owens. They got Sami Zayn. They got Sasha Banks, Bayley, Becky Lynch, all them.
Okay.
New Japan is entering what was been named the Golden Age.
Okay.
With Okada, Nakamura, Tanahashi, and then they got rising stars like a young Kenny Omega, Tetsuya Naito, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Ring of Honor is... How can I put this? Ring of Honor is what ECW was to the Monday Night Wars.
Right.
It was the underground. It was the alternative. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
TNA, it's in the shitter. It's fucking call it what it is, dude.
Certainly
It's in the
is.
shit, dude.
Certainly is.
So, with all that being said, let's start with rosters. I'm going to give a couple names. Let me know if you have them on yours. Let me know if you don't. Why not, et cetera, et cetera. So, for me, I got to start with the Young Bucks. 2015 is the height of their fucking popularity.
Yeah.
Not only Ring of Honor Tag Team Champions, New Japan, the IWGP Junior Tag Team Champions, major stables in the Bullet Club / starting the foundations of the elite within the Bullet Club. You can't have AEW without the Young Bucks.
Not.
Kenny Omega.
Okay.
Now, this is the start of the cleaner gimmick.
Yeah.
So, trunks, trench coat, broom, the nine. How I was introduced to Kenny Omega.
Okay.
My favorite version of Kenny Omega. Rising Star, awesome. Adam Cole. Baby.
Absolutely.
Mainstay of Ring of Honor 2015. Also, this is around the time that they induct him into the Bullet Club. So it just makes sense for all this to continue on. I can't have Adam Cole there without Red Dragon.
Correct.
Which is Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish.
Yep.
Both of them appear on New Japan and Ring of Honor regularly. There's no reason we can't have them there. If you have them three, you got to have Roddy.
Yep.
Same fucking reasons. He was more of a Ring of Honor mainstay. He wasn't really going to New Japan as much as the other three. So, still good. Now, we were just talking about this, and I made a little comment about it. I was like, oh, fuck. I forgot about this particular company during this time.
Right.
Because this was, I believe this was season 2 when it was happening. I'm pulling Ricochet.
There you go. The Prince Puma himself in the middle of the Lucha Underground contract.
Now, he wasn't exclusive to Lucha Underground. He was still working other indie days, but he was a mainstay there. I'm saying they write off Prince Puma, and he comes to Ring of Honor, AEW full time. I'm in 2015 mode, so Ring of Honor is like my
Well, let me give you a few. Let's go back and forth a few times here.
Yeah, go ahead.
Kurt fucking Angle.
Not on my radar.
He's in TNA. He's having a great run.
But this is getting towards the end of his run.
That's all right. AJ Styles.
I haven't got there yet, but he's on my list.
You mentioned a couple tag teams. You also have to say the Briscoes and the Motor City Machine Guns.
So, Machine Guns, I agree with. Here's the reason I didn't say the Briscoes, and stop me if you care to. This is only a couple years after those quote unquote, and I'm just going to say it like that, racist tweets that Jay put out in a drunken stupor. So I don't see any major network, for the same fucking reasons they didn't sign him to begin with, putting the Briscoes on there. Now, if there's a way we can get them on fucking television, please give Jay his fucking flowers.
I'll do one or two more and then for the next few.
Okay.
Abyss.
He's also winding down though. Like he's in a part-time situation.
These are, you have to have those names for recognition.
I agree with that.
So you got to grab some of these guys. And then also from Impact, Bobby Roode.
Where did he come? Yeah, because he didn't come over until 2017, 2018.
Mm.
Okay, I'm with that. But let me add one more to that one.
Sure.
And it's not on my list, but you said Bobby Roode. You can't have Bobby Roode without fucking James Storm.
I agree.
You can work him at singles, or you can work him as a tag.
Yep.
Either way, you're gonna have two great talents. All right. So continue in mind. I only got a couple more before we get into like ex-WWE guys.
Yeah.
Zack Sabre Jr.
Oh yes.
The technical specialist, the current now New Japan Pro Wrestling IWGP World Heavyweight Champion. Congrats to him. He just won it back this past weekend. Gargano and Ciampa. Not as a tag. Want them as singles.
Okay.
You need some fluff. These are great talents. And I feel if you put them in this environment, they're going to thrive a lot more like they did in NXT than they did on the main roster. Okay. And then my last one's Jay Lethal. At this time, he was the face of Ring of Honor. He was an established name. He's one of those guys that you can put anything on him and it fucking works. Black fucking machismo. He pops out for 2015. So, you want to go throw a couple more names before I get into to some ex-WWE guys?
I think you got to go Hangman Page. You definitely have to have him.
Okay.
Christopher Daniels.
Got to.
Now, here are some relatively unknown guys at the time. Well, not so much, but definitely not at their peak yet.
I'm listening.
Drew Galloway.
On my list.
Gotta have him. Eli Drake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dummy.
Oh, question.
And remember, 2015 when Eli Drake was in Impact, this was the time he was one of the main plays too.
Of course, you gotta take Bobby Lashley.
I left him off.
And Nick Aldis.
Ooh.
Nick Aldis.
Now,
my man.
I didn't think about Nick Aldis, but I also don't think he would have signed in 2015 because of how much he was carrying NWA at the time. Like his heart, his soul, his everything was into that company. I just can't see him stepping away from something he's trying so hard to build up. Now, if NWA had an affiliation with AEW, I could see it happening.
All right.
But I'm assuming you're just doing AEW straight. You're not having any affiliations. So, Aldis, I'm going to have to disagree with. But it's...
Everyone's got a price.
I don't know. WWE tried to sign him in fucking 2019 for $1 million, and he still said no. And he was still carrying the NWA.
Wow.
Yeah. Whereas that was, at least in my opinion, the height of this version of the NWA. Yeah, because 2019, this was right after All In. This is right after Cody had the NWA title, and they had that nice little feud, and they actually got a name and a mainstay on it. Yeah. All right. So mine. Number 1. Cody Rhodes.
Okay.
He had that horrible Stardust gimmick. He was unhappy. I firmly believe if AEW started in 2015, he would have asked for his release a lot sooner. Got it granted, and would have been one of the mainstays. Like you, Drew Galloway's on mine. He was a mainstay for TNA. He was carrying that fucking company in a lot of ways. So, kudos. And I would love to see that what if. Just Galloway and AEW, period. Because it seems like there's and this is a little tangent. Let me just get this off my chest. We'll continue on. I kind of feel a shift going with AEW right now where, yes, they still have a lot of like current generational stars that act more Gen Z-ish and shit like that. But I'm also seeing where there's a shift in the locker room where there's more professionality.
Yeah.
Where there's a lot more guys coming in that carry themselves a different way, a la Bobby Lashley, the Hurt Syndicate, shit like that. And it's almost like a breath of fresh air to the point that I'm taking notice. And for anybody that's listening or watching this, he can vouch for this. I don't watch AEW.
Nope.
So for something to catch my eye on that in that brand or anything like that, and for me to say something positive, that's kudos. Fucking kudos. My next one, and I'm surprised you didn't say this one, Matt Hardy.
Oh, the Hardy Boys are on my list.
I didn't say nothing about Jeff.
I hear you.
Matt, more specifically, Broken Matt.
Mm.
Because this is when he's building that up. And it's wonderful and all that good shit. So, yeah, I can definitely see him kind of being the gimmicky, supernatural kind of deal if they want to run that route in AEW, which I think they tried that one time and it just didn't work out that too well. Here's one. Rey Mysterio.
Ooh.
Released in early 2015.
Okay.
So instead of him going back down to Mexico, they signed him to be one of the top guys.
You could still pull it off back then.
Mm-hmm. And as much as I hate this motherfucker, I'm saying this for name recognition because we got Rey Mysterio, we got the yin, you got to have the yang. Alberto El Patron.
I guess.
At least for a year. At least to establish something with Lucha Libre with them too.
Okay.
And that's what I got for singles, more or less. I got some NWA, some New Japan guys. I got a women's division. Did you happen to care about that?
No, but I'd love to hear about it when we get back from this commercial break.
Word.
What up, Heel Faction? In today's day and age, internet security is of paramount importance. That's why today's sponsor is Surfshark VPN. Tell them about it, Draven.
It was really quite simple. VPNs are the way of the future. Keep your stuff secure, safe, and out of hackers' hands. You want to go watch Netflix over in Japan? Flip that shit over. You want to go watch The Capital Humor? And you can't because you're one of these states that got a ban? Flip that shit over to another country. Really quite simple.
Absolutely. Keeps your information safe, out of the hands of hackers. The VPNs, as Draven said, are the future. If you use the link in the description, you can get Surfshark VPN for 88% off, plus 3 free months.
Damn, that's quite a steal.
Yeah, we're talking about less than $2 per month, plus 3 free months. You sign up using the link in the description. Safe surfing, happy surfing, keep your shit safe. We'll get back to the show. All right, we are back. Want to remind you about the YouTube memberships. $1.99 a month, get you everything you need. You get merch at cost. You get the emojis. You get the members-only videos, which there's a ton of. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, just hit this join button down here in this region and check out the options. We'd love to have you as a member. Also, please, if you're here, subscribe. Like and subscribe. We've got a bet going. If we can hit 20,000 subscribers before the end of this year, Draven is going to get the heel shit logo on his neck, Cody Rhodes style. So, watch out for that.
You forget about the best part.
What?
That if we get to 20,000, Old Eggert over there at Snug Wrestling's got to wear a fuck Logan Paul shirt.
Oh yes.
Uh-huh.
Fuck Logan Paul.
Worth that. That is worth the ink. I'm telling you right
Mhm.
now. All right, so back to Fantasy War. You didn't really think too much of a women's division. I did, because when AEW first started, hands down had the best women's division.
Yes.
Bar none. And this is back when I was watching AEW. So how would the landscape change 4 years prior? I got 7 names.
Okay.
I want to give these 7 names, and I want your opinion why or why not.
Okay.
And I'll give you mine. My first one is fucking Chelsea Green.
Oh, you got to. She, especially with that gimmick back then.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that showing in Lucha Underground. That Chelsea Green in this environment? Yes, sir.
100%.
Yes, sir. You turn my vibration off because I got many fans always trying to send me stuff. Not only fans, just many fans. My second one, Candice LeRae. Because she can work like a man. This is pre-WWE. This is pre-Pixie shit. This is back when the Young Bucks are fucking super kicking her in the face with fucking thumbtacks. This is her working PWG every weekend.
Yep.
This is her working intergender matches with her fucking or at the time boyfriend Johnny Gargano at the time. She can fucking go.
She can go for sure.
And if I can have that Chelsea Green and that Candice LeRae, that could lead that division.
Good.
Next one, Deonna Purrazzo.
100%.
Mm-hmm.
Especially knowing what she does in the meantime.
Yes.
Like, she's the best there is in the ring.
Yep. I know this one's kind of controversial, but in this era, I firmly believe nobody could touch her. Tessa Blanchard.
Woo. Was this around the time that she was
This is right before they pushed her to be the world champion.
right before? Yeah. If she's available, you got to.
Oh, she was, because she was part of TNA at the time.
Yeah.
Athena / Ember Moon. This is before she got signed with WWE.
Yeah.
Great fucking workhorse.
Great work.
She's never changed her style regardless of the promotion. They tried to tone her down, and you can kind of see it between companies, but she's fucking amazing.
Yeah.
And I can't get enough of it. Her character work, whether it's babyface or heel, love it. Her athleticism, love it. The way she works with her psychology, love it. She's all around great.
Yeah, no, she is. I wasn't familiar with her before WWE, but I've watched it ever since, and she can go. She's great.
And she did just as good prior to. 2 more. Mia Yim. This is before the Fed got a hold of her and put a fucking governor on her.
Yeah.
She was
That Mia Yim, you gotta.
badass.
Yes.
Fucking badass. My last one, Mercedes Martinez.
Yeah, that time I think you have to.
Mm-hmm. Good, solid workhorse. Great in the fucking ring, great on the mic. And let's be real. I only put 7 here. I could probably put 15 in this era from other companies.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't even bother touching Japan or Mexico, really.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking, at that time, you're talking Taya. You're talking, Thunder Rosa was still awesome at the time. You don't like her, but Kairi Singh. We're talking, Io Sky at the time. Asuka at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, that division could be spectacular.
Yep.
It could be historical.
Mm-hmm. Not saying that the original women's division wasn't, because, it kept me fucking interested for at least after the Riho title reign. Not gonna lie. Still trying to figure out how the 80-pound wrestler worked a lot of these other ones, but that's just me. That's the Booker in me.
Yeah. Understood.
Got a couple of New Japan names. Let's just throw them out there. Fuck it. Already said Kenny Omega, AJ Styles, for every reason you've said and more. And Edgar, fuck you. This is my roster.
That's right.
Fucking AJ Styles. And this is post TNA. This is right after the Lone Wolf gimmick. He's fucking just riding that fucking wave right there. Gotta fucking have it. Not to mention, if you have Kenny and AJ in there, if you go towards the end of the year, you can have a Bullet Club Civil War. Storylines right there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then my last mainstay for excuse me, from New Japan is Shinsuke Nakamura. For every reason you're thinking of, and please be mindful of our monetary.
Yeah, no, Shinsuke was a badass. It was like the Fed ruined him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can't say enough about him on his work in Japan. He's a legend over there.
Yep. So, with all that being said, what's the impact on WWE?
Well, before we get to that, I got some quote unquote dream matches that I would like to have seen.
Okay.
Okay.
You go right ahead.
I think even though they're in the same company and they probably did it before on major television, we never got the Briscoes versus the Machine Guns on major television.
I'd have to go back and actually research that, dude. Cause
Yeah.
I'll be honest, they might have done one of the Lakeland shows that I didn't go to, but I've never seen it.
Yeah, I'd love to see it. Abyss and Keith Lee.
Ooh, young Keith Lee.
Well, let's change it up. Abyss versus Keith Lee, no DQ.
That's where the clash happens because Chris Parks, Abyss, or whatever you want to call him, he relies so much on the hardcore style.
Mm-hmm.
Where does Keith Lee draw the line of I'm not doing that? Because we've seen what Abyss can do.
Oh yeah.
I got 2 words for you: barbed wire massacre. I've seen what he did to fucking Judas Macias. I've seen what he does to fucking Sabu.
Yep.
I've seen what he did to fucking Raven firsthand.
Yep.
There's not a darkness he won't go to.
Hmm.
I think that's just going to be too much of a clash of styles. I think a good solid 10-minute match, yeah. But if you make it no DQ, it's going to clash too much, and it's probably going to become a clusterfuck.
Like Mount Rushmore versus The Rising.
The Mount Rushmore was Adam Cole, the Bucks, and Kevin.
Not in this version in 2015, but yeah.
Okay. So what was this version in 2015?
It was just Cole and the Bucks.
Okay.
And then The Rising was Eli Drake, Drew Galloway, those hotshot guys.
Yeah, definitely.
That'd be a great match.
Definitely if you had it Texas style.
Bobby Roode versus Hangman.
Ooh.
Guys can both do technical. They can both do banging.
I'm about to say, just a straight up wrestling match between them two? Oh my Christ.
Yes.
Ooh.
We missed that.
That made my pee-pee tingle.
Yes. AJ and Eli Drake. I don't know if you've seen that.
We saw it at WrestleMania and it was the shits.
That's true.
but let me say this. We also had AJ versus Shinsuke at WrestleMania for the WWE title back in 2018, 2019, something like that. And that was the shits. But I based that on the match they had leaving New Japan in 2016 and how great that match was. My standards were set too high at the time. So it might just been one of those, if we got it in a different company with different producers, it'd be a lot better.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Plus, you're thinking 2015 AJ Styles, he could actually, still do most of the shit that he wants to do.
Mm-hmm. And I just have a list of people I'd like to have seen Kurt Angle work: Hangman, Christopher Daniels, Jay Briscoe, Nigel McGuinness.
Dude, Nigel McGuinness versus fucking Jay Briscoe. Money. Them two don't give a fuck about being stiff.
So yeah, there's that. But we can come back.
What about? Hold on, real quick.
No.
I didn't notice really other than the Rising and the Mount Rushmore, you didn't have any other tag team.
Well, I started to think about it because I did have the War Raiders at the time were there. Them versus, I mean, anybody in TNA would have been great. The Hardys.
What about the Briscoes versus Beer Money?
Dude. I
I
didn't even think of that.
And you made that one no DQ? Honey.
I did not even think about that. I like that.
Right. Oh, my God.
Mm.
Ooh.
That could be dope.
Good?
Would.
Dude, that just made my mouth water.
And there's so many guys in Ring of Honor that I would have liked to have seen Drew Galloway wrestle. You know.
Dude, that Drew Galloway versus that AJ Styles.
Yeah.
That Drew Galloway versus fucking Omega.
Oh, shit, yeah.
The V-Trigger versus the Claymore? Fuck. All right.
All right, well, let's throw it to our next commercial break, and then when we get back, we will...
we'll go through the impact of other various companies.
Yeah. We'll be right back.
Let me introduce you to our new sponsor, Smackin' Sunflower Seeds. Check this out. They sent us this huge box of samples with all these amazing flavors, from traditional flavors like the OG and ranch to unique flavors like cinnamon churro and my favorite, backyard barbecue.
Absolutely, man. Let's not forget the garlic parmesan, the cracked black pepper, and my personal favorite, the maple brown sugar. It is grade A, phenomenal, my guy.
So me, Draven, and Miner all sat down, went through all these flavors. Of course, we each had our favorite, but one thing we agreed on, this is an amazing brand. If you're a sunflower seed eater, you definitely need to check this out. If you're not a sunflower seed eater, you still need to check these out because they got a flavor that you like without question. Miner's favorite was dill pickle. I like the barbecue. Use the link in the description and enjoy.
Thank you, Dark and Draven. That was excellent representation. Want to remind everybody about the YouTube memberships. You click this join button down in this region here. We got 2 tiers. $1.99 gets you pretty much everything you need. You get the merch at cost. You get the members-only videos, the emojis, all that good stuff. We got a $4.99 tier that includes all that stuff, plus a Zoom call every month with us. We just had it this past Sunday. It's always a good time. And you get we follow you back on all your social media, and there's more personalized communication and shit like that. So yeah, give it a click. Also, please subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. 20,000 subscribers. Old boy's getting a tattoo on his neck of the Heel Shit logo.
Get my tattoo guys ready. But don't forget, old Eggert up there's got to wear a fuck Logan Paul shirt. That alone makes me want to hit 20,000.
There you go.
That boy, he suckles on the testicles. That is Logan Paul.
Yes. Logan's Teclees.
I like what you did there.
Oh, fuck. All right. So. Testicles.
All right, let's get serious. Oh, real quick. Speaking of the Smackin' Sunflower, thanks, Miner, for helping us out with that since old Dark Cordz didn't want to give you any props. Suck my testicles.
All right. How would it have affected the industry?
Dude, where do we want to start with this? Actually, let's start with NXT. We'd get no Shinsuke Nakamura in 2016. No Adam Cole, no Red Dragon, no Roderick Strong in 2016. We wouldn't get Drew Galloway back. None of that shit. Possibly. There's no Kevin Owens. There's no Sami Zayn. There's no Finn Balor.
Very possibly.
Because remember, AEW contracts back then were only 1-year contracts. If you're main event, 2 years. So by 2016, all these guys were up for fucking contract renewals anyway.
Right.
Where would NXT be without those guys?
Nowhere.
in the shitter.
Yeah. Failed.
Yep. Let's look at something that they did. It was a one time only thing. The Cruiserweight Classic. No Zack Sabre Jr., no Cedric Alexander, no Rich Swann, no Koto Ibushi. That whole show would not exist.
Yeah.
So everything that came from the Cruiserweight Classic, even fucking 205 Live and the Cruiserweight title and all of that, non-existent. All those opportunities gone. Where would they go? Over to fucking AEW. Face it, that's Tony's style of fucking wrestling. That's what he loves to fucking watch. Then that's what would happen.
Yeah.
Tag team division. Undisputed Era never fucking happens.
Yeah.
But 4 years of television, that 4 years of Chef's Kiss, the Black and Gold era, half that shit's gone. Immediately just from them four being gone.
Yeah.
And, you know, obviously we had this shit with Bobby Fish, you know, being injured for a significant amount of that. But even so, it was still fucking very fucking prevalent in WWE to the point 15 to 2018. I'd say even in the COVID era, NXT was more popular than Raw and SmackDown.
Yeah.
Until the Bloodline shit started.
Mm-hmm.
Kills that. Kills ratings. And the Bucks and Kenny Omega never even had any negotiations with WWE in 2018. Because remember that at the end of 2018, when their contracts were up with New Japan, they did some communications and see where they were going to sit. So there's an alternate reality where those three came over to the Fed. Probably got fired really fucking quickly because Vince couldn't do fucking shit with them. Let's call it what it was.
Not a chance.
Impact on New Japan. You lose AJ. You lose Kenny. You lose the Bucks. You basically lose the Bullet Club. At least the core members. Now, you can keep like Bad Luck Fale and Tama Tonga and Tangaloa and shit like that. But you're losing the mainstays, the merch sellers. Those are gone. So now you can have that Bullet Club shit in AEW. And let's call it what it is. You could have the Civil War there, like I stated earlier, where you can have Black and White versus Wolfpack.
Right.
So to speak, for Bullet Club.
Yeah.
New Japan would have to start focusing more on the Japanese talent rather than the Gaijin.
Right.
Which means they have to focus more on Okada, more on Tanahashi, more on Naito. That's if AEW didn't fucking pick them up. Which back then, I don't think Okada, Tanahashi, or Naito would have fucking went over to fucking AEW.
Right.
Except for, like, shots here and there, but they would not be fucking signed. TV deals. TBS, TNT still might take AEW at this point in time. Not sure. I'm not really sure about the TV deal, so to speak, so I wanted to talk to you about this. Because in 2015, everything was USA and Fox. Like TV didn't want nothing to do with it. WGN America was kind of dipping their toe in the New Japan reruns with English commentary. CW was basically non-existent in this platform as far as pro wrestling. Nobody really wanted to touch it. And the only reason USA had it is because of the revenue that the Fed brought in.
Right. I definitely think he would have found it would have been a hard sell.
Yeah, definitely in 2015. But even with that, what's the most likely start point for a TV deal? Like, where would you still go to Warner Brother Discovery? Would you try something off the wall, like say HBO?
You know, I would probably go to something like MTV.
Killed fucking wrestling.
I know, but you're in that era where Warner Brothers is still licking their chops over WCW. Probably still got.
You right.
It's close enough in time to where there's still probably executives from back then that are like, no, fuck wrestling. I don't know. I don't know where they would have potentially landed. Definitely not on a network channel.
What if, and this is me just bouncing shit off, let me ask you this. What if they started streaming? What if they started kind of how TNA started with the $9.99 weekly pay-per-views, but instead you did $2.99 weekly shows on YouTube just to build up an audience, or you just give free shows out like they did with Dark.
Yeah. But the problem is with that roster, you're going to need revenue.
I know where the Bullet Club shit would come. At least on my roster, that's where the Bullet Club popularity and a lot of popularity with ex-WWE guys would come in.
I mean, I believe that with a billionaire behind them and the promised marketing spend, they could have gotten on TV.
Where? Because I don't want them to fall into the same category Impact was. It only just a region.
Yeah.
On a far off fucking network nobody's ever fucking heard of.
No, I understand. I mean, maybe.
What if NBC picked it up? Would that be an option?
I don't know if that would be an option. I could see them getting a slot if they weren't getting. Like, I could see them. There's a certain kind of TV deal that you get the slot, you have to pay for the slot, but then you get all the ad revenue.
Mm-hmm.
I could see that happening. Like, for them to make money, they'd have to make sure they're popular enough to get advertising, spend done on them. So there's that kind of TV deal, which is probably what they might have had to start with at the time. But you've got, I mean, maybe Discovery, maybe one of those national but not top cable networks.
Honestly, dude, it's been so long since I've had fucking cable television or satellite. I can't tell you fucking channels other than Cartoon Network, fucking Nickelodeon, Fuse, MTV1, MTV2. That's the only ones I ever fucking watched.
Yeah. So, I mean, I could see it. The problem is, I don't want to. There are no threats if they wind up even on a national cable channel if it's like 1 a.m.
Right. And that was going to be my next question. Where do you see them as far as a time slot starting out?
Starting out, I wouldn't even give it a shot if it was later than 10.
And I agree with you on that because that's how TNA started on Spike TV. Was the 10 to 11 slot.
Oh, okay.
On Thursday night. And because of that, they worked down to 9 and then they worked down to 8 on Thursday nights. I had a question though. I fucking just went blank on it. Something to do. In 2019, when they actually started up, was the TV deal already set in stone, or because they were still in negotiations with it, that's why we had the press conference in February, and then we didn't have Fighter Fest until May that year? Like there was still a good little time slot right there of the announcement of the company to the first show, and then from the first show to the first Dynamite, which I still think was like 2 months after Fighter Fest.
Yeah, because they were signing people before the TV deal came along.
Right.
In fact, the proof of that is the fact that Warner Brothers wanted just Turner at the time. I can't remember. That they wanted Chris Jericho.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why they signed. Mostly why they signed Chris Jericho. But yeah, they had signed a lot of their top stars, or what were planning to be their top stars, before they got the TV deal.
Right.
Just based off of that All In Chicago,
which was 2017. So they had a good little time frame from 2017 to 2019, and then they had the Fighter Fest, kind of like a soft launch, so to speak, of what was to come. And to be fair, if that was the AEW that they show today, I'd still be a fucking fan because of how the stories were told and shit like that. But that's neither here nor there. Now, as far as TV deals and pay-per-views and shit like that being locked down, let's hypothetically say they did the same build-up they did in 2019 and 2015, where they had the press conference. They took a few months to get everything where they need it. They had a soft launch with, let's just say they had a Fighter Fest, and they had a stacked ass card for 2 hours on. Fuck it, let's just say Spike TV picked it up, but it's from fucking 10 to 12. Do you still see them launching a couple months after that Fighter Fest? Do you see them taking a little bit longer to kind of iron out some more shit, or you think they try to jump the gun?
I would hope that they would take a little bit longer because that Warner Brothers deal, like, that was kind of unheard of.
Mhm.
Like, to have zero product and, product history, zero viewership history, and get a TV deal. So I would hope that they would take enough time to make sure they got the deal that they could live with.
Yeah.
I think the Warner Brothers deal was so, just perfect for them. That's why they signed as quick as they did. But again, and it really depends on who launches AEW. Like, would it be Tony Khan in 2015? I mean,
I hypothetically said yes on that, but it was only Tony. There wasn't the Young Bucks. It wasn't Paige. It wasn't Kenny. It wasn't any of them because, let's face it, in 2015, they were not in any way, shape, or form ready for EVP status. So I'm saying this is Tony Khan, and let's say he had a couple of old school bookers behind him. He had like Arn Anderson. He had like Jerry Lynn. Fuck it, let's say he got fucking Cornette on his fucking side for a little bit to fucking get shit up and going. That's where I'm going. But Tony's like the forefront. He's the money guy. He's the one that's making all the final decision, much like now. But he doesn't have a lot of the indie darlings, so to speak, a lot of the indie darlings whispering in his ear at the time. This is solely him starting this by himself. And also, my last question as far as TV deals and stuff like that, and this kind of goes more on building size. Starting out, do you feel they should have went to smaller arenas like they do now for TV and then the bigger arenas for pay-per-views? Or do you feel like the roster that we had established is big enough to consistently, over a year's time, fill 15,000 seats?
No, I don't think it's right. Necessarily think AEW was at the beginning. Real launch. They showed they can sell out big arenas for big events. But consistently weekly.
Okay. Cool. So you went over some dream matches.
Yep.
I got a couple of little storylines.
Okay.
I want to get your thoughts on this. And I've said this one a couple times, so you know it's going to be the first one on my list. Omega versus Styles, Bullet Club versus Bullet Club. Where do you draw the line on Bullet Club members? Because I only named Omega and the Young Bucks and AJ and Adam Cole and Cody Rhodes, like the main guys of Bullet Club. Obviously, there's going to be like some subordinates, and we can get into the nitty gritty if you want to. I don't fucking care about that. Do you still see it as Omega and the Bucks with AJ, Adam Cole, and Cody Rhodes? Do you see like anything?
That's about it. I mean, after that, it's just salaries for no return. The ones that you get, quote unquote, big names or the leaders of the Bullet Club are the ones that are going to sell the merch for you.
Yep.
So there's no reason to have just a bloated roster like that.
That was kind of Tony's problem when he first started. Anyway, he had too many guys and not enough airtime. Still kind of does, but he's kind of learned to trim the fat, so to speak. What if we had like the Elite versus XWWE guys? You had Bucks and Omega versus Cody Galloway, Matt Hardy, versus New School. How would you feel about something like that?
Oh, that would be great.
Okay. And then for the women's matches, pick any two of the 7 I named out. Pick a couple that I didn't name out. Fucking throw them in there. Everything's gonna be a fucking dream match.
Absolutely.
So the overall impact of this in 2015, at least in my opinion, it weakens NXT, strips New Japan of their top Western stars, so they don't get that bridge over to the United States. It'll change a lot of the careers for the indie guys. It brings a real alternative years earlier, which I said for fucking years. Ring of Honor had a fucking legitimate TV deal.
Right.
They'd be the alternative, and we probably wouldn't have AEW. Tony Khan would probably just invest in Ring of Honor.
Most likely.
And possibly accelerates talent pay all across the board. But let's face it, when Tony started signing people, he signed people for money.
Yeah.
And what you will, I've had my opinions on it. There's a few guys on there that got signed a lot of fucking money that shouldn't. The Jimmy Havoc for one.
Yeah. Well, there was a whole, the whole risk involved with it not doing anything. So, I mean, I think he rewarded a lot of guys for taking that risk with him.
All right. So the only thing I really got left is the various titles coming up and how I got them booked out to what you got left.
But
Cool. So you want to hit that last commercial real quick and we'll knock this shit out?
good to me. Cool.
Castell. Indulge in the revolution.
All right, we are back. Please like and subscribe. That helps us out. If you could do that for us before you head out, I'd appreciate it very much.
Mm-hmm. All right. So I'm only doing the world title, the TNT title, tag titles, and if I got time, the women's title.
Oh.
So let's go ahead and get the main one out the way. Let's get the heavyweight title out the way. This is the list of names in this tournament. I want your pick, and I'll tell you how it all falls out. You got Kenny Omega, AJ Styles, Jay Lethal, Drew Galloway, Adam Cole, Ricochet, Johnny Gargano, and Cody Rhodes. Kind of a King of the Ring style. Single elimination.
Yeah. Drew Galloway.
Drew Galloway's your pick. Who do you see him working in the finals to win? Halfway there. I had Kenny Omega and AJ Styles at the finals. I had AJ being the inaugural world champion. Here's my reasons why. Arguably, the biggest name in 2015.
Yeah. Right.
Came fresh off a fucking IWGP run. Former IWGP world champ. There's too many acronyms in the fucking show.
No kidding.
Jesus Christ. And to me, AJ Styles in 2015 in AEW is where Chris Jericho was in 2019 in it. He was the guy. He was the name.
Okay. I can get behind that.
Mm-hmm. So, thoughts, feelings, queries? Like, is there any? What was your reasoning for Galloway, so to speak? Because this is before he had that real main event push.
Because it seems like he was. All the other guys were kind of similar, and he was the most unique wrestler out of the group. He's bigger,
But you're thinking Drew Galloway. Drew Galloway in 2015, very leaned up.
He was lean, yeah.
So he was about the same size as as Cody, as Kenny, as
But he was
as
much
AJ.
taller than all of them.
This is true, but honest don't always mean shit.
That's true.
This isn't the land of the giants, sir.
I was just throwing my dart at whatever ball hit.
That's what
Right.
All
Old
right.
Chinian.
that bitch. I'll remember that, sir. I'll remember that. For the tag team titles, it's a 4-way tournament. You got the Young Fucks, you got Red Dragon, you got the Addiction, which is Daniels and Kazarian. You got the Briscoes.
I mean, like you said at the time, the Bucks were at their peak.
And this is where I had to say I was fucking unbiased.
Young Bucks win.
It was the Young Bucks, but I had them against the Briscoes.
Get behind that.
Because I've seen those matches countless fucking times. It was always a fucking bang. That left a bad fucking taste in my mouth for the Young Bucks. But same reason AJ Styles, it was the most over tag team in 2015. Coming off New Japan runs themselves, being the hottest fucking thing, tag team wrestling at the time.
Yep.
All right. So here's the TNT one. This is where it gets a little fucking fun for you because this is more your fucking style of wrestling with these guys. Zack Sabre Jr., Roderick Strong, Adam Cole, Baby, ACH, which is Apollo Crews in WWE, for people that don't know who ACH is, Matt Sydal, which is Evan Bourne in WWE, and Ricochet. Same style, King of the Ring style.
The Ricochet that just got done being Prince Puma, I'm taking him.
So was I.
So are you?
So was
Yeah.
I had him against Roderick Strong. Finals.
Very nice.
Arguably the best high flyer that year. Like you said, coming off of the Lucha Underground stuff.
Yep.
So he had a name to that. Perfect to put him at the fucking curtain jerking or at the fucking halfway point or even at the main event because he's going to make it fucking flash. He's going to make it beautiful. He's going to make it awesome.
Mm-hmm.
He's always going to get the fucking crowd to come up. And you can really push Ricochet with any of these guys I named.
Yeah.
And have a good fucking
Decent feud.
thank you. My fucking brain went. Duh.
Thank you.
God damn it.
Ola.
I hate
Thank you, Ola.
There's days I'm halfway glad he's here, and then there's days this is like why. That was the moment of why the fuck is he here.
That's exactly why he's here.
Fuck you and your community service.
Fuck.
Now, I did the women's title a little bit different.
Uh-oh.
I did this one, and in the video game world, we used to call these slobberdocker matches, where two people start, one gets pinned, another one comes in, and it keeps going until the last person's in.
Oh, that's a gauntlet match.
I call them slobberknockers because I'm fucking old school. SmackDown, here comes the pain. A bitch.
Okay. Slobberknocker match.
And I did it with 6 talents. Chelsea Green, Candice LeRae, Tessa Blanchard, Athena, Mia Yim, Mercedes Martinez. Do I need to give you who starts the match to kind of help you?
Sure.
In order. Mia Yim and Mercedes start, then Athena, then Tessa, Candice, Chelsea.
Well, with that math, it sounds like Chelsea.
It is Chelsea.
It's just
Chelsea.
Yeah.
Why Chelsea?
Yeah.
Because she has that girl. Because let's be real, all these talents here, unless you've watched and sought after certain pro wrestling shows, you don't know any of these. You're going by looks alone, my guy. And Chelsea Green is like the closest thing you're going to get to a diva look of a main roster WWE style look, but it can also work like a motherfucking man.
Okay.
Plus, her character work is just fucking top notch. Let's fucking be. Oh God.
Yeah, no, she's
Matt
great.
Cardona's a lucky motherfucker. Let me just fucking say, Matt. The day you come on here, the first thing I want to say is you're a lucky motherfucker.
He'll say I know.
I know he's going to say he knows,
What
but I
else you
gotta
got?
fucking say it. That's it for the women's division. That's
All
it.
right.
So final thoughts, queries, comments, questions.
I kind of like how things turned out.
We didn't kill each other.
Not in the show,
Oh.
dickhead. I like how it went in the real world better than if it had started earlier.
I don't know.
Because by the time 2019 rolled around, there were enough people there were enough fans who knew these guys now.
Mm-hmm.
Like they were filling, medium arenas every week with guys that, dove deep enough to know your Kenny Omegas and your your Ring of Honor stars, stuff
Yeah.
like that. I don't think you would have had that back then. I think it was the perfect time, and unfortunately, you got to give a lot of credit to the IWC for passing around all those other things.
But that's back when it wasn't so fucking camp. It was actually a fucking community that we
Oh,
only
yeah.
talked about fucking wrestling, and if we had a disagreement, so fucking what, we continued on. The IWC's just become wrestling.
Oh, it has.
Wrestling politics.
But it's also responsible for a lot of non-WWE talent being known.
Mm-hmm.
So I just don't think AEW would have made such an impact in 2015 as they did in 2019.
I could see that, but if they started in 2015, this is just my opinion. It would be what I call a slow burn. Similar to how TNA started on FSN, Fox Sports Network, and then got the TV deal to Spike, and then got the prime time, and then got the 2-hour slot, and then moved to Monday night. Like, it kept building. Well, fucking Hogan got in there. And I feel that it started in 2015, and it started the same kind of trajectory. Skip the FSN, skip the weekly pay-per-view, start, say 10 p.m. to fucking 12 p.m. So fuck it, 10 to 11. And work it that way for 6 months. And just keep slowly building and build your equity to the point where, oh, fuck, now we have an 8 p.m. to fucking 10:30 p.m. time slot on fucking Spike TV on a fucking Monday night. Are we expecting to fucking draw Raw numbers? No, the fuck we're not. But we have enough of a fucking fan base that's going to tune in over Monday Night Raw.
Right.
On that lookout, I think starting in 2015 would have been better, but I don't think Tony as a booker or promoter would have mentally been as tuned into wrestling as he is now. Because I firmly believe if you had a 2015 Tony Khan just going there like, I want to start a wrestling company, it'd been like an oversized 12-year-old going into a fucking toy box, grabbing his favorite fucking people and just making them fucking fight each other. Like that's the mental image I got of like a younger Tony Khan going into it. Not saying that he wasn't, a big fan in 2015, but he wasn't smartened up the way he needed.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Other than that, yeah, I mean, I do talk a little negatively on AEW about a lot of things, but I also speak, there's some positive shit too. I mean, it's like you said, it gives the boys another place to work. It gives the boys a place to make money. And let's be real, if AEW didn't come out when it did and wasn't a part of the world when it was, we probably would never had CM Punk back in pro wrestling at all.
For sure.
Which means the bangers that we've had over the past couple of years in the Fed would not have happened.
Right.
The fucking bloodbaths that we've had in AEW wouldn't have fucking happened. I mean, yeah, he left on shitty fucking terms, and they're pretty much his fault. It is what it is. But you can't deny the matches that he had weren't fucking good as far as a storytelling perspective. Not necessarily from a technical perspective. There's some fucking slip ups. because he knows how to work one style, and that one style was not what AEW did. But from a storytelling perspective, you can't sit there and tell me the shit with Hangman wasn't good. You can't sit there and tell me the shit with fucking Darby Allin when he first came in wasn't fucking good. You damn sure can't tell me that fucking feud with MJF wasn't fan-fucking-tastic.
Oh, yeah. Sure.
So, you know, on that premise, awesome. AEW gets his fucking flowers. As far as giving ex-WWE guys a place to fucking work. And, you know, we heard it before with fucking TNA. Oh, they're just signing ex-WWE guys. Let's stop labeling them that, and let's start labeling them as what they are. Professional wrestlers. They're independent contractors. You don't see them fucking walking around with a WWE brand on their fucking arm.
Right.
It just makes no sense to keep labeling them as such. They're professional wrestlers. If they can't work in one place, they're going to go somewhere where they can work. Just
Agreed.
because they've worked in one company before doesn't mean you should label them as such. That's like us going to fucking New Wave, for instance, and those guys worked over in the Wiregrass. Oh, we're Wiregrass guys. No, the fuck we're not. We're just fucking workers. Don't label us as that.
Right.
Label us as workers. That's all we are.
That's it. Well, it was fun, man.
Oh, I did enjoy that.
Enjoyed that. You want to take us out?
Yeah, let me actually I gotta pull the notes up real quick because I gotta give next week's show.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna have fun with this one. Ladies and gentlemen, do not forget this coming Sunday is the TFK Roundtable. We will have Dark Cordz, Draven Grimes, Rip Ruiz, and the newest member of the Kingdom live via satellite, but live nonetheless this coming Sunday, 12 p.m. noon Eastern, Johnny 11 Central. As well as this coming up Tuesday, we will have Weekend Wrestling with Dark Cordz, Draven Grimes, and Ballsucker 3000 himself, Edgar, from the Snug Wrestling Podcast. Or we're just going to review the previous week's wrestling, unless something really fucking fantastic happens. Oh. No, that's next weekend. Yeah, no, we're just going to cover wrestling stories from the previous week.
Yep.
I'm a week off. My bad. And next Thursday, 7:30 p.m., 6:30 Central, Johnny, Fantasy Wars. Ready for this one? What if ECW got the national TV deal in 97? Ooh. Boy, I'm going to fucking cook.
I'll bring my popcorn.
Boy, you better just go ahead and bring you a bowl. All right, because when I'm done, son, you're going to be wanting some of that ECW stew.
Give me the stew.
Mm-hmm. Also, real quick, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Everything helps us out with the algorithms. It's a very technical shit. He's explained it to me. I don't fucking listen half the time. He fucking explains technical shit. I'm a wrestler. It's what I do.
Mm.
As well as follow us on all the social medias, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, the TikTok, the Fippy Fappy, whatever other various platforms that we're on. Make sure you go and like, subscribe, and all that good stuff on that. And let's see. The merch. The merch. It's fucking beautiful.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
As always, you can get Kill Shit podcast merchandise like my boys repping over here with the HSP Demon hoodie. You can get the NWO TFK as well as the HSP NWO style logos on beanies, hats, t-shirts, all that good stuff. You get the Dark Cordz, you get the Draven Grimes, you get the Rip Ruiz merchandise, you get the fuck Logan Paul merchandise in the uncensored, and in case you're fucking snowballs, there are fucking little censored versions of that as well. Basically everything at your discretion. And of course, if you're a premium member, you do have merch at cost on a separate link. Take advantage of that. You have access to shit we don't even have access to. Fucking jealous. And
Good
with
shit.
that, I think. Happy 4th of July one more time to everybody that celebrates it. Everybody be safe. Don't shoot each other with fucking fireworks. Please if you're like me and you're a fucking mark for pro wrestling entrances and you have like a big finale and stand behind it and do the fucking Batista thing and fucking edit the music in, I'll fucking air it. It's gonna be fucking great because that's what I'm doing tomorrow.
You're doing
Man panties and all.
nice.
Mm-hmm. Now,
All right,
take
well,
us home.
Waiting to see that. I tell you. All right.
I
So-
walk alone.
All right. I hope you enjoyed as much as we did. For Driving Grimes, I'm Dark Cordz. This has been Heel Shit. Why do we call it that? Because bad guys do heel shit. Peace.
I walk alone.
Shit podcast, where the bad boys reign, never following the norm.